right, gang. So it looks like I have a run of bass players that I've been interviewing lately. As you know, last week I interviewed David Ellefson. Today I have a fantastic bassist in his own right. Today we're going to be talking about Scour. Derek, how's it going today, man?
Things are good, man.
Good, good, good. I'm so stoked, dude. I mean, look, as a metal fan, anytime Phil has anything out, I'm down. Whether it's Pantera stuff or Down or the Illegals, this album right here,
There
love
you
love that album. Um, Even his work with In Minor and of course Scour. So to hear that Scour comes out with a new album called Gold, February 21st, I'm beyond stoked, man. It's gonna be cool.
go. Fuck yeah, I'm super excited, and that is a great album. I wasn't on the Illegals records; they came out before I joined, but I did tour on a lot of it
Sure.
and play those songs live, and they're such a treat. Super extreme, actually.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Now when you toured, you played bass for the Illegals.
Yes.
Right? And Mike, who's just great. Mike DeLeon is the guitarist for the Legals. But I was listening to some of it today, and just to get rehashed with just so much good shit. I mean, it had to be cool to be playing those tunes live on stage.
Oh yeah, and yeah. Shout out to Mike DeLeon. Happy birthday! He just had a birthday this week.
Correct, correct.
Um, but yeah, those songs were super brutal, and the Illegals were a great group of guys. A lot of clowning around with those fellas, but super brutal on stage. So definitely good times with them.
That's why I got my Kirk Weinstein shirt on today. It's his anniversary today.
Oh man,
I'm in his
love it.
life, so I saw that on Facebook. I had to throw the old Kirk shirt on. So
Oh hell yeah, that's what's up, man.
all right, man. So, obviously, I know from your work with cattle decapitation. Is that what brought you to Phil or Phil to you to land a gig with Scour?
Yeah, in a way, that was like my first interaction with him. Cattle was invited to play the Housecore Horror Film Festival
Oh, cool.
years back, and we were actually the first band announced for it for that year, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I met Phil that weekend, and he was super cool. I was already kind of friends with some of the Illegals, but that was the first time I actually met Phil, and we ended up hitting it off, and then he actually did a guest vocal on the Cattle record, the Anthropocene Extinction. We had like a cool spoken word part, and Scour's bass player John Jarvis was like, I got the perfect guy for this, and we were like, oh, I mean, if you can make it happen, we'd love to have him, and he put us in touch, and that was the first time we worked together. Um, John actually had worked together with him. Him and Adam had a band called Fulgora, and they were signed to Housecore, so
Oh, okay, sure, sure.
they had worked with Phil on that. And then when it came time for Scour, we were just like, who's the best front man in the game? And so we were like, Phil, you in? And he said he could kill it.
I mean, come on. Was there any doubt? I mean, please.
Not much doubt on that one. But it was kind of a surprise, the vocals that he laid down. You know what I mean? We weren't sure which way it was going to go. But like, I think it ended up having like more like gutturals and like lower stuff than I'd expected. But now it's kind of grown into like our Scour sound is fucking incredible.
The range that the man has is just crazy. But um, um, I was surprised though because with the first three Scour records, you played guitar.
Yes, I do guitar and all of Scour today as well. It's just
Oh,
because
so,
I do the writing for the music, so it
oh,
makes sense just to play guitar. Plus, John Jarvis, he and I formed this band together. So if I was playing guitar, it's like, well, you're on bass.
I got you.
But
It,
then last year, he's got a band Nest that he plays guitar in, and I filled in on bass for that. So
that there's two amazing instrumentals in on Gold. It seems like Scour at least fits in at least one or two on each record, and as pure mood setters, and they're just amazing. How do those come up? Because obviously, it like I think the one is it contaminated or ornament? I think ornaments has like just like a steady piano and it's just. But again, like if you just listen to that, the aura is just it's so simple. There's no real heavy stuff compared to everything else on the album, but it's pure vile and horror, and it's just amazing. How does that come up?
That's awesome. That's 100% what we were going for.
Uh,
Yeah, there's actually three of them on this record, and the fun fact is Phil actually put those together for this album. That was the first time he did it, and we kind of had like more of a horror theme going for this. And so I was like, "Well, Phil, you're obviously the master of horror. You know, maybe you could lay it down." And
it's like a religion for the guy, I think, you know.
he actually played the piano on that track you're talking about, and I recorded him with that. So
That's great.
he's just like, "Oh, I got this piece," and he like played it, and like that was just perfect. I was like, "That's what we're using." You know what I mean?
It's like a movie. It's like part of a movie soundtrack. I mean, it really like with a swiping scene to like the next scene in a horror movie. That's what I envision will be playing to really get the to keep the viewer's attention. In this case, the listener's attention. It's
Awesome. That's like 100% what I was hoping for. You know what I mean? Like, and I think Phil
cool.
nailed it. John Jarvis actually helped him with those as well. So the two of those nuts, you know, went at it.
You had said that you write a lot. Is there a different approach? I mean, obviously, we're talking guitar and bass, we're talking apples and oranges, but is there much of a different approach when you're either trying to write a guitar riff or a bass line for Scour?
Yeah, I think there is a different approach between the two, and a lot of it. I mean, some of the riffs just come out just because I'm just jamming. I'm like, oh, save that. But a lot of it will come from like the theme, like the guitar lead.
Okay,
I'll just have this theme in my head and then build everything else around it. But sometimes it's the other way around. You know, you'll have the riff and then the theme will just pop up. But
hmm.
I try not to overthink anything in Scour too much. We spent a little more time on this album, I guess, kind of dialing it in versus like the previous records, but still want to keep that Scour sound, keep it minimal, keep it, you know, don't want to overthink it, you know, because we all come from like super technical backgrounds and we want to just stay away from that in this project, you know.
And it's just incredible because some people I'm older and some people that I know, friends of mine who aren't into this stuff at all. I'm probably one of the only ones that I'm part of the oldest guy that was at the Kerry King show the other day. But some people just blow this shit off as being you just you know. But there's so much to it. I mean, the bass. I mean, the drums.
Oh yeah.
I can't put my head around how a human being can do that shit. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah, Adam's a total beast. Like I'll kind of when I write the songs, I'll map out drums, but then I, I send it to Adam. I'm like,
How?
you can play this, yes, right? And he does, and he fucking crushes it. But the drums are actually an integral part of the sound of Scour. I
Sure,
mean, it's like
sure.
you have these buzzsaw riffs, but the energy wouldn't be there unless he was back there just blasting up a storm. I mean,
Yep.
you
It's to me, it sounds like the drums kind of drive it. It's like the fuel and everything else is just accompanying that. So, um,
yeah, 100%. It's a major like it's when we do like our mixing and mastering too. It's always like get that snare up in the mix. You know what I mean? Like it's super important for the sound. You know.
but just curious. I don't play on stage, but I know how some of the stuff works. And when you perform live, I think it's the Blades video has some clips of Scar performing live. What do you listen to in your monitors?
Um, that's interesting. Yeah,
Because
the
I can't.
blades.
I mean, if it was me, the drums coming through would throw me off because there's so much going on. But
Oh,
what?
drums keep it all together. I mean, we all have our own mix,
Right.
how we want it. For me personally, Scour, my mix is way different than if I'm playing bass. But for Scour, I want to hear
Okay.
snare, my guitar, backing vocals, and some
Wow.
of Mark's guitar. But usually I can hear Phil in the just from the mains. But if I can't, I'll be like, give me a little bit of Phil as well, you know.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I want to get into some of the songs. Obviously, I mean, the first single was Infusorium, if I pronounced that correct.
Yes.
Again, Adam's just a madman. Your bass just kind of bites at the soul with, the bass riff. It just intense, and the guitars. I mean, writing adjectives trying to explain this record is so hard because, you use maniacal and vile and relentless, and it all applies to this stuff. It's just so fucking intense.
Dude, thank you. That was kind of like a first pick for the single choice. Phil called it right away. He's like, "That's your single right there." And we're like, "Actually, you're probably right. It's a little different than I guess previous stuff, but it's definitely got the intensity." And Infusorium is kind of like a departure of like song title as well. Like usually it's just like piles, blades, tear gas, something you can grasp onto. But it was it's based on a short story, a short novel written by John Paget, a local New Orleans horror author. So
Okay.
Phil even it influenced the lyrics for that whole song. So we tried to capture that with the video, but title's a little off than what we normally do. But that's you just had to roll with it. I mean, it was just too perfect.
And the video, I mean, come on, it's like a mini movie. It's like, it's just done so well, and the visuals of, is it? Yeah, I think it's Infusorium. When Phil's in front of the house and the house is burning down from the inside, and just, I mean, whew, crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, that was definitely a fun one to film. I mean, we actually filmed them both that same week because Scour went down to play that show with Exhorder and Pentagram, and it was like right after Phil's home haunt that he builds every year. So it's like a party at the lair, and he builds this crazy haunted house like in his basement, and so it was just too perfect. Like for the Blades video, we're like, well, we got to get in a haunt. We got to capture this.
Yeah.
But for Infusorium, we spent a little more time and tried to nail the main aspects of that short story. And it was cool to see John Paget comment on some of the stuff, the author, and he gave us approval, and he thought it was really cool.
Oh, no way. Gave it a thumbs up. That's cool, man.
Yeah. I guess we did our job on that one.
With Phil being busy with everything he's got going on with Pantera and such, I had read some of the backstory to the recording of Gold. Can you tell me some of that? I mean, I know that obviously not Nosferatu's Lair is where some of it, but I heard some of it was done backstage at different shows and so forth.
Yes,
backing vocals and such.
All true. So we had been working on new stuff, and then I actually had the opportunity. I filled in with Pantera for a few shows down in South America, and on the way back, Eddie, their sound man, pulled me aside. And he's like, "Yo, what's up with that new Scour?" And I was like, "Well, it's almost done." He's like, "Think you could have it done in a couple months? Come down and record?" And I was like, "I think we could." So they had just revamped the layer for like Pantera rehearsals. So they also revamped the whole studio too and got all this awesome new gear, and they wanted to use it. So Scour was essentially the test band for this new gear. And we went down in like January, February of 23, actually. So
wow,
it's been a long time coming. But took us a while. We recorded everything in a couple weeks, but then the mixing and mastering took a long time. We just wanted to make sure to get it right. And then when it came time for the backing vocals, I was playing bass for Nest, and we were on that Pantera tour. So we were like, what a perfect chance to do the backing vocals was doing backstage. We're here together.
Yeah.
So I guess if you were to isolate it, you could probably hear like Rex's bass sound checks going off and stuff in the background. But, it kind of threw us back to the original Scour way. When we wrote the Gray EP, I was still in Cattle Decapitation on tour, and John and I would like go searching for like little rooms to record, like a closet or an office or like an office in the manager's room or something.
Yeah.
And that's how we would write the whole thing. We just get little pieces in here and here. So doing that back for the backing vocals for the Gold was kind of like a throwback for us. It was super fun.
That's amazing. The guitar I have hanging up back here is stage used from an Exodus show given to me by Gary Holt.
Hell yeah.
My understanding is that he's on the album somewhere.
You would be correct.
What song has a solo? If I had to guess, I would say Coin. I'm not
That's
really.
the one. Yeah. For
Damn.
sure.
All right. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Love Gary.
So sick. That's such a
And
great lead, man.
I think I caught him at the right time. I was like, hey, would you be interested in doing a solo? And he's like, dude, I'm going to be in the studio in a few weeks and I could do it then. It was just like perfect timing all around, and super stoked how it turned out. His guitar tone's insane. Obviously, those fine ESP guitars, doing it justice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're super stoked to have him. So we can say we could put a sticker on our album if we wanted to, saying like featuring performances from current Pantera and Slayer members. It's like
Exactly. And not for nothing, Mark kills it too. I mean, a couple of songs have he just lights it up with his riffs and there's just so much to talk about on these songs. Each member, I mean, of the band is a veteran in metal. So, to get everybody together, it's just intense. I can't wait for the fans to hear this one when it comes out.
Yeah, seriously. I've been jamming with Mark. He was like in my first metal band ever together, a band called Cast of Stone.
Oh, okay.
And I've known him and his work forever, but I think his solo on Infensorium is probably like some of his best stuff he's ever done, and I give him a little pat on the back. He crushed it for sure. But yeah, like all the Scour guys, we all grew up in St. Louis together. Our band Cast of Stone would play with the Jar By's band All Will Fall, and so we kind of came up playing local shows together, and everybody kind of branched off and did some big stuff. So
sure.
Makes it extra cool, when the Scour boys get back together,
And as a fan, I'm appreciative of that for sure.
Hell yeah!
Listen, man, when the Illegals opened for Slayer on one of their final, legs of the final tour, give me a vibe, man. Like, how was that? I mean, obviously, that had to be a surreal moment and I mean, to perform at Madison Square Garden I mean, Jesus, gosh, come on. Talk about checking off things in life that you want
sold out to Madison Square Garden. I think.
No, for real.
No, it was that tour was insane. Even just hearing about the tour getting announced was insane. Like the first night, Al Jorgensen came on our bus and like sat next to me and was like bullshit with me. I was just like, how did I get here? And
wow.
But like as awesome as it was, and like got to meet tons of awesome people throughout the whole tour. But like the final show at the Forum was pretty somber, actually. It was like Phil was like really affected by it, because Slayer was a big part of him growing up. Tom Araya was like, he was like almost like a little depressed, it was going down. It was very somber mood in the air, but like you're still so stoked to see Slayer, their final gig at the time. And it was like mixed emotions, but it was like a magical experience that I was like, I'm so glad to be a part of, just incredible.
That's why I had to go. Kerry King's band was just in town on Wednesday, and I mean, to see him and Paul back on stage together, and of course, you throw Phil Demmel there, and they just tore it up. Mark on vocals was just perfect. It was just
he's the perfect fit, honestly.
I was surprised. I mean, you hear so much clickbait shit out there, and you hear, this guy should have been this guy. Kerry did it right, man. I mean, Mark just destroyed it on stage, and yeah, it was a fun time, man.
Awesome. I haven't been able to catch him yet, but definitely as soon as I can. It's a great lineup.
Scour is playing. I think there's only one date announced at the Milwaukee Metal Fest. I'm assuming with Phil's schedule upcoming, there's not a lot as far as touring that's going to happen with Scour.
Well, the offers are definitely there. Phil does have a busy schedule. Also, Pig Destroyer, Misery Index got a bunch going on this year.
Nice.
If we can make it happen, we're going to. It's just nothing's confirmed yet. So Milwaukee is the chance. If you want to see Scour, you got to go.
I have to ask, but before I let you go, have you booked your ticket to Birmingham, England yet?
I have not, but God, I want to go. You know,
Come on, man. Like I don't fly. I've never flown. I'm scared of flying. But you might have to pull an A team and knock me out to get me on because
you know what I mean.
I'm hoping that they at least have it streamed. I mean, it is for charity, from what I understand. But to see Sabbath and Ozzy's last round and Pantera and Slayer and blah 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 blah, it just you don't
It's
have to see any more shows after that one. Like that's it, you know.
that's like heavy metal in a nutshell. You know what I mean?
100%.
I'm hoping maybe they need to carry a boom stand in or something. You know, I'm there.
You know, Rex, if you need some help, I'll.
No doubt. I'll wrap your cables. I don't give a shit. You know.
Derek, listen, man, it's a pleasure to talk to you about the record. Gold is out February 21st. Terrorizing record. You guys did a great job for it, man, and I appreciate your time today.
Dude, thank you so much. Always happy to talk Scour.
Right on, man. You take care of yourself.
All right, man. Take care.
Thanks. Bye bye.